Hello. Hi, Lynn. How are you? Carolyn, good morning. Joanne, good morning. Nancy, hi, everyone. How are you? What's going on? What would you like to share with me? What would you like to ask? Or would you like to just be guided to that connection of mind and body that is so healing? And of course, strengthening our body as well, right? Um, Yesterday, I went on a crazy hike, 45-minute hike. So much of it was uphill at the end. It was just crazy. Probably the most strenuous hike that I've done since I had my hip replacement. I had my hip replacement 5 years ago. And I feel really strong, though. I feel really strong in my body. I just don't usually challenge myself at that level. And I went on this crazy hike, lots of incline, heart rate super accelerated. But really, the biggest thing was my leg muscles and what it took from my leg muscles. And then I felt that last night. Yet today, I feel amazing. It's like, what hike? So, Stan, how are you? Yes, seriously. Oh, I don't know if I've ever heard May Gray. So I've heard of April showers and then May Gray. It's so interesting how that happens. But yeah, today is pretty gray, and it was what 86 or 88 degrees 3 days ago. So we're back to the bipolar aspects of weather. Stevie, good morning. How are you? So nice to have you. So those of you that just arrived, if there's anything in particular you'd like to focus on, please let me know. My focus when there isn't a focus. So if I'm not thinking about shoulders or back in particular, my focus is on functional movement and healthy aging always. Keeping ourselves strong and functional is my goal because that's what's going to enable us to live life to the fullest and to still participate in life so we don't let more degeneration happen. So that's what I would say is a really important aspect. I don't want you to stop moving because if you stop moving, you'll lose, use it or lose it. You really will lose it. So, and getting to a place of lost it, very hard to go backwards from that. Okay, June gloom, I've heard. I've heard April showers, June gloom. I don't know if I've heard May gray. Yeah, well, I was in Scotland for 6 days in March, which should be raining, cold, and I think that the week before they had snow plows that were breaking down from trying to move some snow. I was there for 6 days, and in 6 days, it rained for 15 minutes, and the weather was in the low 50s. So my dad's like, that's like a heat wave. Anyway, all right. So let's do this. Let me see where we're at here. All right. So focus is on healthy functional movement, and that's what we're going for. Okay. So let's do this. Let me go back here. I feel like a little munchkin when I do this. When I see myself walking back like this. All right. So here we are. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for being here. If nobody did show up, then I wouldn't, right? So I do, you're here, and this is why we're all here. We're all here for each other. All right. So keeping our bodies functional is important, and the function happens mostly in the joints. That's where the movement happens in our body. And then there's so many things that are a part of that. The ligaments that hold the bones together, the tendons that hold the muscles on top of the bones, the muscles themselves that stabilize and mobilize the body, and the connective tissue, the fascia that wraps around everything, the vessels, the nerves that communicate balance and body weight distribution and where you are and joint coordination. There's an alignment in the joints. And so all of these things are what we focus on. Well, you do when you're practicing with me, because that's what I focus on. How can I keep all of those aspects of us healthy, mobile, limber? And so whatever you do is good. And if I come to something that you can't do, then try to do some other movement while we're doing something that's impossible for you or difficult for you. And if I challenge you or ask you to challenge yourself, think about that. Can you challenge yourself safely today? Is that appropriate for you? And only going to where you should. Because if you let your ego get in the way, the part of you that is going to try to do it, and you really probably shouldn't, that's when pain and injury can happen. All right. So I'd like to begin today's practice in one of my favorite basic ways to arrive to the practice, because the beginning of the practice is the connection of the body and the mind. It's actually taking an elevator from up here, where we live all day, every day, thinking, whether it's consciously thinking or subconscious. Most of the time, there's a slant towards the negative or the fear-based thinking. We're either usually in the past, thinking about what was, how great what was, or, oh my gosh, what will be. And we're usually in those places slant towards a negative. So no wonder there's a breakdown physically and metabolically in our bodies. So let's take this time out, your little sacred space, whatever that is for you, 2 foot by 6 foot mat space. This right now is for you, for polishing yourself off, for taking out the Windex and cleaning the lens. So we will need a blanket and a block and a strap, our basics, always to have them handy. Hopefully we get to them. Today I'd like to do the additional bolster or pillows or another rolled up blanket or even a chair or go up against the wall. I'd like us to begin with some kind of support for the legs so that we can relax the low back and relax the pelvis. So get something that you could use to support your lower limbs. And I do have a yoga bolster, which I really love. This is my special bolster. I don't take this very many places, even when I work privately, either in groups or individual. This is what I bought for myself. I really think it's really pretty. And it's like lotus flowers. So even having something really pretty for yourself is really nice. All right. So we're going to come down onto the ground. When we do get down on the ground, I just want to show you before we go down there. The hand position will be heart and belly. And your choice if you want your left hand to be on the heart and right hand on the belly, or actually we'll do a little switcheroo when we're down there, because I'd like us to feel different parts of our lungs expanding with breath, because that's also an aspect of function, body function, and really where we start to do the deepest corrections is with the breath. It's the most subtle, and it's actually where the deepest healing and corrections take place when we're working on functional correction. All right, so let's come all the way down onto our backs and arrange yourself nicely to lengthen the back of your neck. Have some support underneath your head and neck. Feel that, feel how that feels. And if you do have a blanket there, try not to have it on your shoulder area. Have it on the head and neck area. And then you could let your legs go nice and long, whatever it is you've chosen. If you have a bolster, you can have the bolster up high so it's supporting the upper leg bones, or you could have it in the knee joint. And for some, having it on the calf area feels better for their bodies. So depending on what's happening with your pelvis, the way the legs attach to the pelvis, the way that the spine moves with wherever the pelvis is, there's a lot of things that are at play there. So it's not just so simple to say, put it under your knees, because it is different. And then you could let your legs be a little wide, and you could even let a little external rotation come into the hips. So letting the knees kind of flop a little bit open to the side can be nice and relaxing. And then notice what's happening here in your body. Close your eyes. Pay attention to wherever you've placed your body and how it's responding to that position. The upper body, let's arrange ourselves here. Press your arms into the ground. Lift your rib cage up off the ground and slide the shoulder blades towards the center, towards the spine. This is important because our shoulder blades often throughout the day come to the side of the body. And so this is a way for you to use gravity to place the shoulder blades where they belong
and then maybe to deeply stretch some joints that are responsible for where is your shoulder throughout your day. And then bring your awareness to your head. Let's do a little side to side slowly. So go slow here. Feel the center of your skull making a rainbow shape. So you're not picking it up to move it to the side. You're actually letting it roll, and you feel the connection of your head the whole time, and you're making the shape of a rainbow or an arch. Just noticing here. Bring yourself back to center. It may actually feel nice to do that. And there also is a little bit of a self-care act, for me anyway. It's like, oh, this is nice for you to do this for yourself, is kind of how I feel when I do neck rolls. Because there's a lot of tension that's held in the neck. And when we're under stress, whether it's perceived stress, real stress, current right now stress, or past stress in this life, or from your ancestors, whatever that is, a lot of that tension happens in the upper back and neck and jaw area. And so whether you're realizing it's happening, your response to a sensory input, sight, sound, whatever. And so we get a lot of tension in the neck. So doing the neck roll side to side can release a bit of that, and stop that contracted state. Then bring your awareness to your hands. Let's begin by putting our left hand on the belly, spreading the fingers, and the right hand up on the chest at heart level. And try to get your upper arm bones to be pretty close to your body so that your arms and your shoulders can relax in this position. Closing your eyes, feel the center of your head. Make sure the back neck is nice and long, tucking the chin down towards the throat or down towards the chest. Mouth is closed, breathing in through the nose. Try to breathe and be a witness to your breath. So be in a noticing space of what's happening when you breathe. And notice, does the hand on the belly move? Does the hand on the heart move? Let's be intentional here. So notice, if you notice the hand on the heart moving, do you also feel the other side of the chest moving? And then bring your awareness down to the hand on the belly. When the belly is rising, do you feel the hand? And do you also notice the other side of the belly moving? Let's see if we could direct the breath. Breathe in to your hand that's by the heart, the right hand that's up on the chest. Breathe to the palm, spread the fingers. Now breathe down to the hand that's on the belly, the left hand down on the lower belly, spread the fingers. Breathe so big, you breathe to the hand, you breathe to the side of the waist and back towards the back on the left side where the hand is. Activating the left diaphragm, primary breathing muscle. Finishing that last breath. Let's switch the hands. Bring the right hand down onto the belly, bring the left hand up onto the chest. Spread the fingers, let the hands rest. Bring your hands really into a spread position so that when you breathe into them and you could feel as much of the hand as possible. And then bring your awareness to the left hand on the chest. Begin to breathe to the left palm, the left fingers. And bring your awareness to the right hand, to the palm, to the fingers, breathing to the right hand. Awareness to the right hand on the belly. Breathe to the hand, breathe to the sides, breathe to the back, the right lower back, the right lower side. Bring both hands up to your chest. Breathe to your chest. Feel how much you expand, breathing up towards the sky, up towards your head, out to the sides, and back towards the place behind the heart. And breathe so big that you actually feel the stretch that's taking place deep inside your body. Now take your hands, slide your hands down. So they're down on your belly and your hands are spread and your thumbs are right by the lower ribs. Begin to direct the breath down to your hands. So you feel your palms receiving your belly as you breathe. See if you could breathe back towards the ground. And as you breathe back towards the ground, notice if you feel a little relief in the lower back, especially those of you that have low back issues. Take one more breath. Now let your body breathe itself. Become a witness and notice where the breath is when you breathe now. As if you were standing above yourself watching. Notice how much chest involvement there is. Notice how much lower rib involvement there is. And notice how much belly involvement there is. Let your hands go to the side. See if you're able to notice. And then pay attention to yourself. Eyes are closed. What would you say the pace is of your thoughts? What would you say are the sensations of your body? And what is the quality of relaxation or excitement that exists in your body right now? And then notice if your body feels heavy. Do your legs feel heavy? Does your pelvis feel heavy? Does your belly feel heavy? Do your ribs and rib cage feel heavy? The left arm, the right arm, and your head. And see if you could get a little more heavy. Letting go, letting go. Feel the heaviness of your body. Bring your awareness to your fingers, to your toes as you begin to bring movement into your fingers and your toes. And then go ahead and bend your knees, draw your knees in. Come onto your side. Noticing how you feel. Do you feel relaxed? Were you able to let go? Were you able to stay connected to your breath, not be distracted by yesterday or tomorrow that don't exist, but to really be here in the moment? Were you able to take the elevator from your head down to your body, which is where we can get really deep healing, where we can be in a place of managing our stress, which will internally allow our bodies to repair and restore and heal in the way that we need. Let's bring your hand onto the ground, pushing yourself up. We're going to arrange our space so that we can start to bring movement into our body. So take your prop, if you had one, off to the side, or if you had your legs at the chair or the wall, bringing yourself back here. Let's come all the way down onto the ground again. And we're going to start to move our body. So let's take the arms out to the side. If you could bend the elbows, try that. Make sure the blanket's only under that head. Take your feet wide so your heels could be on your mat or they could be all the way off. And then go slowly first. Don't let the soles of the feet leave the ground yet. So really start to introduce movement into your body gently, and don't get the back involved right away, because the back has to do so much, which is why so many of us have back issues. So try to let the other joints do the movement, in this case, the hips. If the soles of the feet stay on the ground, this will stay in your hip joints and it won't go into your back. Then you feel where you have tightness in your hips. And if you have low back issues, do you have really tight hips? Because if you do, then they're not doing their job and the back has to do all the work, which is why it's tired and in pain. So really getting your hips to be a little loosey juicy here. Take your feet, walk them away, keep the soles of the feet on the ground, move the knees. The kneecaps are moving a lot, keeping the soles of the feet on the ground. And then walk the feet close as you could get them. The heels are either on or off. You're going to go a little bigger here. Keep the soles of the feet on the ground. You're going to start to feel stretching down the thigh as you stretch one of your quads, one of your hip flexors, and you start stretching some side muscles that are joint health and hip and knee health related. Keep the soles of the feet on the ground. And then bring yourself back to a neutral. So if you want to do a little bit lifting off so you know where you are, feel the sacrum, feel the center of the pelvis, which is the base of the spine. Feel that connection. Notice how the low back is really not active here. It's hanging out. So the sacrum is going to be working hard to stabilize with the muscles of the pelvis as we move our knees. So pay attention to what you're doing when you throw your bag of bones around. Let's take an exhale. Inhale, slowly let your knees go to one side. Soles of the feet can roll off the floor. Exhale, firm up the core, hug the lumbar spine, push the belly button back towards the spine, back up to center. Inhale, the other side. Notice where you feel the stretch. Exhale, firm up your core to bring your legs back up. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to contract. Contract your core, protect your back. Inhale. Exhale. Close your eyes. Feel yourself rocking in the center of your pelvis from the sacrum over to one buttock. Feel the stretching that's taking place in your body. Make sure it's appropriate, whatever you're doing. Eyes closed so you can feel where you're going and feel if it's appropriate for your body. We are not trying to get our knees to touch the floor or to get close to the floor. We are trying to let the weight of the leg bone move to the side to stretch the hip joint and to stretch the muscles of the waist. So try to keep your pelvis pretty stable. Don't let it tilt too much. Don't let it rock. Next time you go to the left, stay there. We're going to stretch the right side. You could take the right hand off, reach the right hand long, reach the right knee long. Try to unbend the right hip joint. So where that hip is, try to push it up towards the sky and take the bend out of it. That'll stretch your body a little deeper. And then your hand, flex your wrist, reach your hand away. Don't have it right next to your head. Have it away so you feel the deepest stretch possible. Try to get your pelvis to pull away from the rib cage as much as it can. And breathe to your right waist, your right back, your right pelvis. Using that right diaphragm, feel it moving down, feel it stretching. And then bring yourself back up to center, firming up your core. Slowly allow your legs to find themselves over towards the right, not touching the ground or trying to touch the ground, moving to the right. Then take the left hand off, start to stretch the left side here. Close your eyes, feel the stretch. Breathing to the left lower ribs, the left side waist, the left back body. Trying to unbend that left hip joint to deepen the stretch. Pushing the left knee away from you. And then pull the left lower pelvis and left rib cage away from each other. And breathe there. One more breath. Bring yourself back up. Nice stretch so far. Let's take the right leg over the left leg, doing a little bit more here with that side body stretching. Take the hands behind the head. The thighs are touching. The back of the right thigh is touching the top of the left thigh. Then you're going to walk the left foot off to the left a little bit. You'll maybe start to feel a stretch in the right hip joint when you do this. Right here, posterior hip. So stretching some of the glutes, some of the muscles on the side of the body and the back of the body, and then muscles that attach the back of the hip to the sacrum or the tailbone area, the pelvis. Take an exhale. We want to inhale to lengthen. So first lengthen your waist, push the top of your right hip away from you and the top of the right leg as you move the right leg over to the left. So you're lengthening away from you and then towards the side. That's your inhale. Your exhale, you push your belly button to your spine to come back up to center. Go slow here. A lot of muscles getting stretched. Keep this in your waist and your hip. Try not to let this be in the back. So you're going to do that by keeping the left buttock on the ground and keeping the left right tushy close to the ground, not letting it fly up away from the ground. Push the top of the right pelvis away from you, top of the right thigh away from you. Lengthen off to the left. Inhaling. Exhale, one more. You're going to inhale with length first, pushing the leg away, pushing the top thigh away, and then lengthening over to the left. Stay there. Let your head look towards the right. Push the right arm down, push the left arm down. Push your belly button to your spine. Try to push your low back towards the ground. And then push your right pelvis away from you, deep inside. Breathing deep to the left waist. If you want, if it's too heavy or you want to go a little deeper, take your left foot and start walking your left foot more over towards the left, but pay attention to keeping this in your left waist and your left buttock. Don't let it go to the low back. Take one more breath. Let's stay here for a second. I am experiencing a lot of stretching. Stretching in, now we're all going to be different. I'm just going to tell you where I'm experiencing this. If you push your right hip towards the ground and push it away from you, see what that does for you. That'll not really, it'll take it away from the back if it's there. Feeling a lot of stretching here in the hip joint area. So notice if that's happening for you. For people with sciatica, this is going to keep the pathway that the sciatic nerve, maybe for some of you, maybe keep that open. Take one more breath. And then push your chest up towards the sky. So really adding a little bit of extension here. You might notice that that deepens the stretch for you in your waist. So feel what feels appropriate for you in your waist. Pushing your chest up towards the sky, right buttock towards the ground, right pelvis away from you. And see where you can isolate and deepen that stretch. Take one more breath. And then we're going to come out slowly. So come out, bringing your legs out of that rotation, bringing yourself up and away, noticing what you notice there. Let's bring the knees in for a little adjustment. Take the legs wide to stretch the low back. This is happy baby. So come into happy baby. Could be nice and relieving for low back. And we just did one side there. So notice what's happening in the right side. So now I'm definitely feeling right lower back close to the pelvis, like the SI joint area. So I could tell that I stretched my right lower side. My left side is like, what about me? Like I feel nothing on that left side right now, of course. All right, let's take the feet onto the ground. Now you're gonna lift your left leg up, put your left leg on top of your right leg. Take your hands behind your head. And then walk your right foot, so you heel toe your right foot over to the right a little bit. Then you're going to push your left hip away from you and push it towards the low back, towards the ground. So you're pushing the top left thigh and the hip away from you. Take an exhale. Inhale, pushing the leg away. You're going to inhale towards the side. Exhale back. Inhale. Try to really stretch the waist, the muscles that mobilize the pelvis. Notice what you experience here. You push the hip away. You let the hip go towards the right on the inhale. You contract your core. Protect your low back. Protect your core to come back up to center. And then you bring yourself back up to center. Let's go one more. Lengthen your waist. Push the pelvis away from you. Push the top thigh away from you. Push the low back towards the ground. And enter this stretch that we're going to hold. Push your right arm into the ground, your left arm into the ground. You might want to move the right foot to protect the low back, to help hold the weight of the leg, whatever. For me, this is my hip replacement side, and I do have a posterior hip replacement. So if I were going to dislocate, which I never will, it would be at the back. And so I'm always in a place of extra awareness when I stretch this side of my body and this part of my body because of my hip replacement. So really getting that body awareness can be really good for helping to protect yourself and getting the appropriate stretch. So push the left tushy cheek towards the ground, the left pelvis away from the left lower ribs, left top thigh away from you, and then breathe down to your left lower side, the left waist. Find the deepest stretch that's appropriate for your body. Breathing down to the low left side. Breathe to the lower ribs. And then if you'd like to add that chest, pushing the heart up towards the sky, see what that does to this stretch for you. The more that the weight goes towards the ground on the left side, the safer it'll be for the low back. The more the weight flies away from the ground, it's more rotational force, and it will be in the low back as well, in the SI joint. It's asymmetrical. So pay attention to your body and how it's receiving what you're doing. Take one more breath. And then do what you need to do to bring yourself back to center. Unbending the legs, drawing the knees in deep and wide. So let the knees be towards the armpits, and then unbend the legs, pushing the top leg bone towards your rib cage. That'll help to stretch the low back, stretch the muscles that rotate the trunk, and then roll side to side. Counter-indicated movement for rotation is a back bend. So let's flow through a bridge pose right now to see how that feels for our body. So you're going to take the blanket away from the back of the head, take the block in between your knees, lift your head up and lengthen your neck, and then walk your feet away from your body. And then you want to arrange your shoulder blades. So push your hands into the ground, lift your rib cage up, slide your shoulder blades towards your spine. So spinal health, really important. Joints of the hips here, joints of the spine are going to be moving here. And then the muscles that mobilize and stabilize are going to get lengthened and strengthened. So I think bridge posture is probably one of the most profound for healthy aging, for healthy spine, for healthy joint health, and for protection of the joints by strengthening the muscles of the back of the body, which is really important. Nice long neck here. Hands are down alongside your body. Walk your feet away from your body a little bit. And your block is between. So let's begin by squeezing the block really strong. Do a super strong squeeze so you feel your inner thighs turning on. Really, really strong. Then I want you to do super strong squeeze. And now flatten the low back by tilting the pelvis backwards. Squeeze the block. Back is touching the floor. Squeeze the tushy. Exhale. Inhale, push your feet into the floor. Lift yourself up. Let your right hand come up off the floor, leading with your thumb, and let your head roll towards the left. And then exhale to lower down slowly. Inhale, squeeze the block. Let the low back touch the ground. Squeeze the tushy, leading with the left hand. Inhale to lift. Head rolls to the right. Exhale to lower. So you're not moving a lot here. It's very pelvis, lower leg, low back focused. And then shoulder joint as well by lifting the arms. So go slow here. Be very muscular. Squeeze the heck out of the block. Squeeze the heck out of the tushy. Push into the floor like crazy with your feet. So be very muscular. Getting all those stabilizing muscles to get strong so that you can have a nice strong pelvis, strong low back, good hip joint health, good knee health. Forever. Squeeze the block, squeeze the tushy, flatten the low back, come in from a posterior tilt. Super strong squeeze, squeeze the tushy, squeeze the block. No relaxation, make this very muscular. Come back to center, walk your feet closer to your body. Lift your head up, lengthen your neck, walk your feet as close as you can get them. Bend your elbows. Exhale. Squeeze the heck out of the block. Flatten the low back. Squeeze the tushy. Take another exhale. And then inhale. Peel yourself up. Higher, 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 because the feet are closer towards your body. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Inhale or exhale to lower. Squeeze the block. Squeeze your tushy. Start with a flat low back. Inhale. Peel your spine up and away. Use your arms and your feet to help lift your body away. Really muscular here, very muscular. Squeezing, contracting. Squeeze the block, squeeze your tushy, flatten your low back, press your arms in, press your legs in. Inhale, peel your spine up and away. One more. Squeeze the block like crazy, squeeze your tushy, flatten low back. Now push your arms like crazy, feet like crazy. Lift your spine up. And stay here for 5 breaths. Squeeze your tushy, squeeze the block, press your arms, press your feet. If you need to come down before 5, do that. Squeeze the block, squeeze your tushy. And then when you need to come down, you come down slowly, slowly, slowly. Bring the blanket back behind your head. Take the block off to the side. Draw the knees into your chest and rock side to side. Legs are wide. Let your legs be really wide here so your inner thighs can stretch. We just activated them a lot with that block. And then let's take the feet away from you. Take the knees out to the side, soles of the feet are together. So stretching the inner thighs. Then take your hands behind your head so that you're a little elevated in the upper body. That'll help. So if the low back, you want to push the low back towards the ground. So the feet are facing each other. They're not quite touching. Have the feet be about 4 inches apart. Take an exhale and an inhale. And on your next exhale, contract your core, lift your body off the ground, bring the knees towards each other. Keep your elbows out to the side if you have osteoporosis. And if you don't, you can bring your elbows towards each other, and then inhale to open. Exhale, contract your core, hug your lumbar spine, press your low back towards the ground, lift on the exhale. Inhale to lower. Don't round the upper spine if you have osteoporosis. Keeping yourself open on the upper spine if you have osteoporosis. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Stay up here. Everyone bring your arms out to the side. The tip of the nose is pointing up towards the sky. Let's do little lifts with the knees. So let your knees be at the halfway point to about the 75% way closed. Half 75, half 75, like butterfly wings flapping. Elbows are out to the side, tip of the nose is up towards the sky. Sacrum is pressing into the ground. Try to push your low back towards the ground. And then go ahead and bring yourself all the way down. Draw the knees into the chest, rocking side to side. And then let's come onto the side. Come onto your side. Have your, you could have your lower knee bent because this will help with a little bit with balance. And then you're going to let your leg be alongside your body. We're going to inhale up and exhale down. So have the sole of your foot pointing away from you. Your toes are pointing forward. So the lift, make sure when you lift, you don't come into this where you're opening your hip joint, rolling onto your back. You want your toes forward. You want this truly to be the side, strengthening the side of the body, the lateral chain. You could put your hand in front of you if that makes it a little more comfortable for you. Lifting, doesn't matter how high you go. There's no awards here. And try to keep your leg either on the side of your body or slightly to the back. And then lead with the outside edge of the back heel. So the outside edge, the top part, lead with that, not with the pinky toes. Then you're going to come up and stay up. Come up and stay up, little pulses. So the heel, the leg is long, reaching away from you. The edge of the heel is reaching up towards the sky. To the place where you feel the heat. Take one more breath. And then bend that knee. Try to reach the top of the foot, the pants or the socks or the shorts, and then stretch that quadricep. Pushing the heel towards your tushy, and then push that hip joint forward. Take one more breath. And then we're going to go to the other side. So pardon my back. Instead of going to the bottom of my mat, I'm going to stay here. So go to the other side, bend your knee, have your foot nice and flexed, hand goes in front of you. You exhale, and then you inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. See if you could feel that right here on your side. Right here, the glute medius, tensor fasciae lata, muscles that are supporting knee health, hip health, balance, joint coordination, alignment in the joints, to keep minerals in the bones. All of these things are related. Nothing is separate. Everything is related. You're lifting with the outer edge of the heel. Have your leg be either alongside you or slightly to the back. Then come all the way up, stay up, little pulses. Feel that heat. And then we're gonna bring your leg down, bend your leg, bring your heel as close to your tushy as you can get it, reach around, grab the top of your foot or the pants or the shorts or the socks. Stretching that quadricep, the front big muscle group. Push the hip away from you, lengthen your waist. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself out, bring yourself all the way onto your back, bring your knees into your chest, and then come onto your side. Pushing yourself up, leading with your shoulder, bring yourself all the way up. Let's bring your blanket to the center of the mat. We're going to get our strap. So we did a lot to move the lower pelvis away from the ribs and to stretch the body. I'd like to also do a little to lift the upper ribs away. Really great to do this with a strap. I'm going to be in this position here, which is called hero's pose. If you're able to maintain knee flexion and sit on your legs, then try that. You could also put a block here to make it a little bit easier for you, or 2 blocks or 3 blocks. And if you're not able to do that, the other thing is you could put this here and sit on it like that. Or you could be like this. And if you're like this, maybe a little bit wider stance with your knees. So choose what's appropriate for you. For those of you that could still maintain this, maintain it. And then for those of you that are kind of close, but you feel tension in the knees, if you feel it here, it's the tendinous part of the quadricep muscle, and that's where most injuries occur with muscles. You know, usually when we get issues, we get tendonitis, right? It's the ends of the muscle that are attaching to the bones that is where we get the issues, because there isn't as much ability to stretch in that part of the muscle. The center of the muscle, the belly of the muscle is where the ability to stretch is. So if you're sitting, you're trying to introduce more knee flexion, which is possible. Be careful if it's here. If you feel it here, you can be a little more safe to stretch deeper. But when it's at the tendinous part, you want to be careful with that. So anyway, choose what's appropriate for you. And there's some people that weren't really able to do this, and then they kept practicing and they tell me, wow, now I can sit like that. So if you can maintain flexion in your joints, do it. And if you could work towards trying to get some back, try it, but try it safely. It's not a all or nothing proposition. It can be done for some. Then we're going to take the strap, and the strap, the wider you go, a little more intense this is. So you decide where you want to hold the strap. When the elbows are bent, it lessens the craziness. And when the arms are straight, the elbows are straight, a little bit more intense. So this is a great way to stretch the upper body and a lot of muscles at once, and a lot of muscles that are responsible for posture in the spine and alignment, joint alignment in the spine. So really reach up and back. And try to stay in the place where you mostly feel a stretch. So you come up and you come back and then stay there. Press your heart forward. Pull out on the strap. Take one more breath. And then bring your strap up. Let's do a little lateral. Be careful here. So if the arms are straight, there's definitely more weight going into that lateral side bend. So we're going to be stretching the side body here and the upper part of the body, the underarm pit. So I like to bend the lower elbow, keep the upper arm straight or towards straight, maybe slight bend, but I'd like you to, it's very individual. So really see here, try to be behind you. So if the strap is up, let the strap be behind your head so that most of your stretching is lateral and towards the back.
And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the strap. And then let's take the strap and stretch the triceps here. So holding onto the strap, you're holding onto the strap, you bring the arm up, and then you take the opposite hand and you try to grab, the strap and you walk your hands down towards each other. This is called cow face pose. So you're trying to bring your hands towards each other and you have the front elbow up towards the sky. You're stretching that front shoulder. So for me, this arm up in the sky is the right arm and the left arm is here. So stretching the front of the left shoulder and stretching the back of the right arm, the tricep area. Take one more breath. And I even feel this down into my abdominals. I feel my abdominals stretching a little as well. Take one more breath. And then you're going to slowly bring yourself out. We're going to go to the other side. So you take the strap in the hand in front of you. You bend your elbow. You bring your elbow up high and then you bend the elbow. You reach back behind you to grab the strap that's behind you. This is where having a 10-foot strap's a little more challenging. So keep the arms alongside you, keep your gaze up, stretching the front of the shoulder that's down and the back of the arm that's up. Pull on the strap, try to open up your heart here. Push your elbows up or the other elbow back. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release. Take the strap off, away. Bring your shoulders forward, up, back, and down, forward, up, back, and down. Let your head stretch side to side. So push the ear straight up towards the sky. Taking that tension out of the upper back and neck area. And then bring yourself back to center. I like to do a little more for strengthening the side of the body. So we're going to do a supported half moon pose. Let's take the block in front of you. Come onto all fours. You have the block here. So let's all go to the same side. So we're going to start with the right hand on the ground. So the right hand is on the ground underneath the shoulder. The fingertips point away from you. And then the right knee, make sure the right knee and the right hand are pretty far away from each other. Take your left hand on the block, lengthen your spine. You're going to lift your left leg up and actually come back. Okay, you're gonna put your left hand on the block, then slide your right leg off to the side. So your right foot off to the side. So the knee is on the floor, but you slide the foot off. So the knee stays on the floor, but you slide the foot off. So take the right foot off to the side, right knee stays on the floor. Left hand is on the block, and then you're gonna contract your core, open up your hips, and bring your left foot, the big toe edge, onto the floor. If you can, you're going to open up your chest and your body even more and bring your hand onto your waist. Your right hand is on the ground, and then push your body weight back towards your right knee. So take that tension out of the right hand. That's a way to distribute the weight out of that right hand, is to push the body weight back. If you want, you could come up onto fingertips if that feels a little better for you. Then you're going to contract your core, lift the left leg into the air. So left leg is in the air, and try to get the left leg in line with your body. And if you do try to look down at it, it's going to challenge balance. So if you're feeling pretty strong here, go ahead and look down at it. And if you're already challenged with balance, that might just throw you off. Right foot is pushing into the ground. Right hand is pushing into the ground. Left leg is lifted. If you would like, you could bend the left leg, reach back, hold on to that left leg, push the heart forward. If you want a little challenge, you could try to take the right foot off the ground. So the right knee is on, but the right foot lifts away. And I know that sounds crazy for some of you, but just try whatever you can do.
Really open up your front body, push your heart forward, add a pretty strong back bend here. Take one more breath. You're going to come out slow, so put the right foot down if it was up, bring the left leg back where it was, bring the left hand onto the waist, and then bring the left leg down onto the ground. And then let's bring yourself up and all the way out. Come up for a second. There for a little while, strengthening the lateral side of the left body. Holding your head up requires muscles to work here in the upper neck. We lift the leg off the ground, so we were doing a lot of lateral chain strengthening here. The glute medius, the middle glute muscle here, it's what does this action here, lifting your leg out to the side. We also have a little muscle up here, the tensor fasciae lata, that then turns into the iliotibial band and attaches below the knee. So this side part of your body here is very important for the joints of the hips and the knees, which will then translate to what happens above or even below. So then that'll help keep a healthy pelvis, a healthy spine, and that will just translate to healthier aging, healthier joints, healthier functions in your body. So let's go over to the other side. We're going to come over to the other side. So the block is here for those who need it. You're going to come onto all fours. Make sure your knees are pretty far away from your hands. And then the left hand is directly underneath the left shoulder. Slide the left foot off to the side. So slide the left foot off to the side. And then bring your right hand onto the block. Contract your core to lift your, opening up your hips, bringing the inside edge of the right big toe side of your foot onto the ground. Then if you can, bring your hand up, bring your hand on. So lengthen your spine here. You're facing that way, away from you. Right? You're not facing down towards the ground. And one other thing here, if the foot is forward, that's going to make you be more collapsing. Okay, remember if you need to come up onto the fingertips, if that's better for you, do that. Otherwise, let your hand go down. Big toe edges on the ground. Contract your core with a muscular strength. Lift your leg up, close to parallel. And if you can look down at it, try to make sure that the outside edge of the heel is lifting up. Your chest is open, your body is nice and long. Lifting that leg up more towards the back than towards the front. If you would like, you could bend that right leg here, reaching and holding on to socks, shorts, pants, or maybe you're like, no way. You do whatever is appropriate for you. Push your body weight back so it's in that left knee, left leg, left hip. Open up your heart. Lift your left foot off the floor if you want to challenge. Really stretch here. So push your foot into your hand if you have your foot. So you're stretching lots of things, hips, belly, chest, hip flexors. Take one more breath. You're going to come out slow by putting the foot back down, unbending the leg, bringing the arm back up. Keep that leg nice and strong the whole time. Bring your hand onto your waist, foot down to the leg. Bring yourself out. And notice where you felt the tension, right? I've definitely experienced a lot there in the upper neck area. So we're on the blanket. Let's do the gate latch. This is a side body stretch. Let's take the foot out to the side. Have the foot be alongside your body, not back and not forward. Toes are pointing forward, active arch. So maybe you feel a pretty strong stretch on the heel, the ankle when you do this. And then do a little bit of this action where you push your hips to the side, because this is right here. We're stretching that side hip and we're bending it in a way that we don't naturally bend it. So the muscles of the side are going to bend and stretch. Then take that hand on the thigh, lift yourself tall, push your leg down into the ground, grow out of that. Take your hand down alongside you, exhale. And then inhale, lift your hand up. When you get here, reach up higher and then laterally bend. So slide that hand down the leg. Heart is open. You should not see the arm in the sky. The arm in the sky should be right alongside your ear. So if it's in front of you, push it back or even bend your elbow and let your elbow guide the way. Deep stretch here.
Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself out. So doing a lateral stretch in more of a almost standing position here. Take the other leg to the side. Toes are pointing forward. So the toes are not out to the side. The foot is not forward. It's not back. Try to have it alongside your body. And an active arch. So you're kind of rolling and you're pushing into the pinky toe edge. You take your hand on your thigh. Let's do a little coaxing, some movement here into this hip. Put your hand on your thigh, take your other hand, take an exhale, lengthen your spine, open your chest. Inhale to reach your hand up, and then laterally bending over. Lift your heart. You shouldn't be able to see your arm, so make sure that you're pushing the arm back, bending the elbow if you need that. Deep belly breath. And smile. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself all the way down. Bring yourself onto your shins. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Let one hand go up and back, and then the other. Let your gaze follow. See if you can feel that all the way down to your hips. Really let your head, your chest, your belly, and even your pelvis try to go along for the ride. Let your gaze go now. Look at your fingertips. Hopefully you feel a pretty deep belly stretch. And then bring yourself back to center. We're going to do a back bend. So you're going to bring your hands up, whether they're here, 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 and reach towards the back. So have some kind of back bend in your body if that's appropriate. Feet are on the floor to protect you. Push your tailbone down towards the ground. Soften your belly, push your heart, and lift your heart. Take one more breath. And then bending your hips. Bring your hands forward. Let's stretch the spine. Try to let the forehead touch the ground if you can. Arms are straight if you can. Bending your hips. Pushing your pelvis back. Stretching the low back. Stretching your spine. Take one more breath. Lifting your head first. Bring yourself all the way up. If you have osteoporosis, that last movement is a great way to stretch the low back, stretch the spine without rounding the spine. Good for those of us without osteoporosis too, but if you have osteoporosis, we're often not doing anything forward because we're so worried, but there are safe ways to do that with awareness. All right, time for final rest, time for integration, time to let all that you did today sink into your body as a new memory, a new healthy functioning memory. So coming down onto your back. Either bring your knees into your chest if you need that.
And then bring yourself into a really spread leg position, like to the corners of the mat. Arms are wide, palms are flopped open towards the sky. Gently begin to bring your awareness to your body. Start to add some movement to the fingers, the toes. Bringing your knees into your chest, pretty wide, so the kneecaps point towards your shoulders or your armpits. Rolling onto your right side or any side. And then bring yourself up. Closing your eyes. Bring your hands together
at your chest. We'll do a gentle hum, which actually releases some relaxation chemicals in your body. Breathing through your nose, allowing that sound to come out the mouth with the lips closed. Lots of relaxation aspects when we hum, when we breathe in and out of our nose. Let's take a big exhale to create space. Inhale. Bowing in gratitude for this wisdom to heal ourselves, to keep ourselves functional, healthy as we age, to connect our body to our mind, to learn how to manage our stress, and to learn how to tap into the inner healing wisdom that exists in each and every one of us. Namaste. Well, I haven't really focused on the lateral chain for a long time, so that was nice to focus on the side body like that. I know that I experience a lot of deep stretching. I hope that you're able to as well. Pat. Hello, Pat. You're welcome, Joanne. All right. So, any comments, questions, or suggestions, please feel free to say something now or send me an email. Hi, Caroline, you're welcome. Oh yeah, I knew you were there. All right. Well, I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you feel good. Hope we didn't stir up anything in the low back. Stan, I hope that's okay for you. I definitely know some of you and your issues. So when I'm doing something, I'm like, especially if I feel it in my body, I'm like, ooh, this is stretching this. I hope this is okay for so-and-so. So yes, thank you. All right. Steve, if you're out there, hello. Dave, if you're with Lynn, hello. Lee, if you're still there, hello. You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone.